All right, something very simple. It says consider numbers. The numbers 4 and 6. What is the sum of their least common multiple and their greatest common factor? So we have 4 and 6. 4 and 6. We want the sum of least common multiple, and so you get least common multiple plus greatest common factor. Common factor. Okay. So how do we solve this thing? So you gotta know like what each of those mean. So the least common multiple is a number that is greater than both of those, but that number, this is what that number needs to satisfy. So that means if you have this number, if you divide it by 4, let's call this number x. If you divide that number by 4, you're gonna have an integer. Integer, not a fraction. So it cannot be 1/2 or 2.37. It cannot be those. It needs to be an integer. 1, 2, 3, 17, 45. So that's the number that when you divide it by 4, you get an integer. When you divide the same number by 6, you also get an integer. But the other thing that it needs to satisfy, 24 satisfies this. You divide 24 by 4, you get 6. Divide 24 by 6, you get 4. There's other numbers that satisfy this, 48. But the other thing it needs to be the least common multiple, the smallest one. And the smallest number that we divide by 4 and we divide by 6, we get an integer is 12. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. 12 divided by 6 is 4. That's the smallest number that satisfied this thing. Divided by 4, you get an integer. Divided by 6, you also get an integer. You get an integer. So equivalent to an integer, not equal. Let's do the great. So for this one, when it was 12. Now for this one, let's do the greatest common factor. The greatest common factor is a number when, so it's a number, let's call it y. When you have 4 divided by that number, y, you get an integer. When you have 6 divided by that number, y, you also get an integer. So, but it needs to be the greatest number that satisfies this. So, let's say if 3 satisfied this and 4 satisfied it and 5 satisfied it, you gotta take 5 because 5 is the greatest number that satisfies it. So, what numbers we gonna divide by 4 to get an integer? We can divide by, I guess 1, of course, 2, 3. 3 won't give you an integer, 4. So 1, 2, and 4. But 4, when you divide 4 by 6, you don't get 6 by 4, you don't get an integer. So 2 divided by 4 is 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So 2 satisfies this thing. So it's the greatest number that satisfies this thing. So we want their sum. So we gotta have 12 plus 2 is equal to 14. That's the answer choice. So what we did is we find the greatest, the least common multiple, which is 12, and we find the greatest common factor, which is 2. We add them up together. 12 plus 2 is equal to 14. Because that's what they asked us. If you enjoyed this video, share it in your page, and thank you. Bye.